Woo. All right, all right, all right. Welcome to We Have Some Notes with Tee and Tel. Hey, T.
Hey, Tel.
You look pretty.
You look pretty.
Oh, thank
After
you.
this week, I need to because I feel like I've been like dragged through the trenches. So it's good that I don't look like it.
Definitely don't look like what we've been through. All right. All right, all right. How was your week?
Not
Never
great.
mind. Never mind. Okay, wait,
There
wait,
were
wait.
good parts and there were not so good parts. Let's just say
I
that. How was
same.
yours? Yeah.
Busy. I got a lot of good work done. I got a lot of good
Yeah, you've
productivity.
been pumping it out lately. Your
Yeah,
creative has just kicked all the way up.
I
You got it
can't
on
be
max.
I can't be bothered with nonsensical stuff distracting me right now. So, okay, I have a question for you. This is something that everybody, if they were watching, would want to know. If they've been following along every episode, they're probably like, they have left us hanging, and I'm so upset. What was in the box? What was in the box, friend?
Oh, yes. Okay. So, what was it? 2 episodes ago or so, my anniversary came up, and the hubby presented me with that box. And it was like, if you pick what's in this, if you don't pick what's in this box, you can never have what's in the box. And it was a nondescript box. I could never really make out what could have possibly been in there. And so I was like, I went for what was in the box.
But what would tell them what the alternative was? So they can understand the stakes were very high.
The alternative was that I could get a dog. But if I did not pick what was in, if I could open the box after making a choice. So I would make a choice. I also, like, for some reason, I really want a second like diamond ring. Okay. And so I was like, okay, is there a diamond ring in this box? The box was too big for a diamond ring. So I didn't think it was that. And then it was like, I could never get a dog. And I didn't even know why he was mentioning a dog, because he was already very resolved that we were never getting a second dog. And I was really contemplating my life on, well, I could get a second dog if I wasn't in this. I'm joking. But I opened the box and it was a dog tag of, you can get a dog whenever like you're ready to get a new dog. So I just have to do.
So it was a win-win. We were gonna get a dog.
We were gonna get a dog anyway.
Either way.
And I didn't know that because he was, I don't have to tell you. Like, my dog is now 8. I've been trying to get a second dog since she was like 1 or 2. So yeah, so now I gotta decide if I want to be a dog mom again. It's a lot of work having a puppy. So, and I would get another golden doodle. So.
It only takes you being married X amount of years, and then you can just break them down, ladies. You can just break them down.
You know why he told me he decided on that gift for me? He says, when I'm with Bailey, I'm my happiest. Bailey is my dog, you guys. He says, when I'm with Bailey, I'm so happy that he just could not deprive me of the option of a second dog.
And I was like, a good, attentive husband that just wants his wifey happy. Good job, bro. Good job. Good job. Because I was gonna bring the dog to your house. Little did he know. We were just gonna ask for forgiveness later. Like, here's the dog. Okay.
Here's the dog. Yeah.
We have a great show planned for you guys today. We got a lot to get into. So we're gonna start off light. I'm gonna try to start off light. And we are going to play a little game called Somebody Said.
Somebody said. Start this thing off nice and easy.
Nice and easy. All right, just as a reminder, everybody, Somebody Said is a trivia game. I'm going to give T some quotes. They're going to be random quotes. They can be things people said earlier in the week. It can be from movies, from songs. It can be somebody said to me directly. It could be an indirect quote. Y'all know how my mind works. So, T, are you ready for somebody said?
I think so. Help me out. Send me good juju.
Okay. Somebody said, my name is Bennett and I'm not in it.
My name is Bennett and I'm not in it.
Now let me give you this dramatic music. You ready?
Okay. Was it? Yeah, I don't know.
Do you want a clue?
Yes.
Okay, this is really not fair. This is implied by this person's actions this week. So not a direct quote at all. But this is what I imagine they said. That probably didn't help you. 5.
Okay.
4.
What I imagine they said.
2.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right. The answer was Taylor Swift. Now, if you'll recall,
yes,
Taylor Swift
got engaged.
She did get engaged, but Blake Lively has tried to drag her into this deposition, this case with Justin Baldini, is how you say his name?
Justin Baldoni, yes.
Baldoni. Okay. Now, here's the thing. All right. According to Entertainment Tonight, Taylor Swift, our girl Tay, and Blake are not even on speaking terms right now. And she does not want anything to do with this legal battle. She's had her legal team respond that if she must attend, because I have better things to do, I have a tour coming up, I got my man I'm trying to get married to, but if I must, I will make myself available. But be clear, Tay says she has no notes for either one of them on the matter. So she said, my name is Bennett and I am not in it. Okay. Are you ready for
the next one? Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Somebody said, sorry, I know it's not for me.
Sorry, I know it's not for me. Sorry.
You the dramatic music.
Let's do it.
Okay.
I need a clue.
Okay. Clue. This was recently said in an interview, and it is a direct quote.
Oh, Ayo.
Wait.
From
yes.
Yay!
Our girl Ayo. How do you say her name?
Adabiri.
Adabiri
or Edabiri?
Close enough. So our girl Ayo, was doing an press junket with Julia Roberts, correct? Mm-hmm. And Andrew Garfield. Yes, for the upcoming movie. What's the name of this movie? That
I'm not sure.
Let's see. I know that it's coming out pretty soon, but yeah, they're in this interview was really weird because the person asked them, in your opinion, what we lost during the politically correct era and what we have to expect in Hollywood after the Me Too movement and the Black Lives Matter are done. And then everybody just looked, it was just a really, let me see if I can actually pull up the clip because everybody was just looking like, what? And then the interviewer specifically only wanted Andrew and Julia
Roberts to answer it. Yeah, it was so bizarre.
Very bizarre. Okay, let's see. Let's see if I can pull it up for us to watch a clip.
The movie is called After the Hunt. So just so you know.
After the Hunt. That's correct.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I think I got it. Let me see if you guys can see. Can you guys see? Okay. Let's see if I get sound. Because sometimes stuff wants to work, child. Sometimes it doesn't.
Was for Julia and Andrew.
Mm-hmm.
Now that the Me Too era and the Black Lives Matters are done, what we have to expect in Hollywood, and what we lost, if we lost something with the politically correct era.
Well,
it's
I
not
didn't.
done.
Sorry, I know that that's not for me, and I don't know if it's purposeful if it's not me, but I just am curious. I don't think it's done. I agree
It's
with
not
you.
done.
I don't think it's done at all. I think maybe hashtags might.
So she went on to explain. Could you hear that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. So she went on to explain that it's not done. Okay, the Black Lives Movement is still alive. We're just not maybe hashtagging as much, and maybe we're doing some more offline stuff. But yeah, it's
And the
still
Me Too movement is also not done.
done. Yeah, it was a really weird time. And I also don't know what she wanted from Julia Roberts, because Julia Roberts has been about that life. Her family are standing in the paint, civil rights activists. They're not new to this, true to this. So I kind of, maybe there was a language barrier. I'll give you a little bit of grace. Maybe there was just some type.
There was not.
Oh, okay.
There was not. She was being very intentional. Both of those movements are started by, Black people, obviously. And so that would be bizarre. That would just, if you were in a space and you had, someone asking you about, say, I don't know, the Ukrainian war,
Mhm.
right? And you have two people that are not of Ukrainian, background, and one person who is, and you purposefully ask the two people that are not of Ukrainian background about something that is going on in their country, or
Yeah.
that was very intentional.
Yeah.
That was very intentional.
Yeah. Well, all right. I tried. I wasn't trying that hard though. Let the record be shown. Let the record be shown. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to give you your next clue. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Let's get our little sound effects. All right. This one's kind of funny.
Okay.
Let me see if I can do it. Dearest reader, I may be a prisoner, but my telegram awaits.
I need to phone a friend.
This is not a direct quote, but it perfectly encapsulates what went down. So,
Okay.
Dearest reader, I may be a prisoner.
Oh, this had to be Young Thug.
Well, you're right. We say lady whistle down. Okay. Lady whistle.
I forgot
down.
about the nickname that they bestowed upon this man.
Down was on the phone with Mariah the Scientist, his girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, still girlfriend, perhaps. And man, he was talking about everybody. He probably was talking about you in there. He was talking about, listen.
It was nothing he wasn't talking about.
He called Glorilla ugly, which Glorilla had a very appropriate response. She cut a diss track. And
nice. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, it's called Brianna because her and Mariah and Lady Whistle Down were trying to say
like
she looks like Rihanna, and so he was like, she looks more like Brianna, and so she came out with a diss song called Brianna, and in it she tells him that fun things like he looks like a Black and Mild, he looks like a Pepsi, He looks like a bad bee. He looks like Prince. Crop shirt wearing, skirt wearing, glow ugly. I'm still gonna flirt. Sweet tea in a sweet tea in a forest tree. Something out of the apocalypse. It was a lot. Miss Netta was the one who took me out. It was just a lot. So she went in on him. And she went in on Mariah the Scientist. So,
what did she say about Mariah the Scientist?
Okay, so she said about her. I mean, give me a second, because this list with him went on and on and on. Tootsie Roll, Goldberg, like it called him absurd looking. It was a lot. She said, Mariah, you don't get to get away either. Bring your Tweety Bird looking here. You a sexy Winnie the Pooh looking bee. Cheating on me, burning you looking bee. Velma off Scooby-Doo looking bee. You don't think she cute looking bee. Only if you knew looking bee. Brain size of a pea looking bee. It was a song. I enjoyed it. I
She
like
does
a good
have the
healthy,
brand, like, well, let me,
I like a good healthy battle, and when you say something smart, you deserve everything that you get in return, because you could have just sat there on your phone call with your girl and talked about nice things, but you want to go talk about other people and be sneak dissing, and hey, it happens. Are you ready for the next one?
Ready for the next one.
Okay. This person said, hold on, let me see if I can do it. The nieces are going to get on me.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna need a clue. Are these words?
This is an unexpected duo.
Unexpected duo. Oh, unexpected. From this week?
Yeah, this past week.
I think because I'm picturing like a whole dance in my head. Like I don't know why I'm like, I don't know why I'm picturing movement with this, so I'm never gonna get it because my mind has gone somewhere else. Give me the answer.
Okay.
Really?
The answer what? The answer was Lotto in Ice Spice.
Oh, at the VMAs.
Now, they have reconnected, or what do you call it? Whatever. They friends now.
They resolved stuff.
They resolve their issues. I love to see it. I love when the girls have beef and then they come back together. It was given an ode to a very, very new age ode to Whitney and Mariah at the VMAs when they came out and they had their alleged beef, and it was fun to see them on this track, because they've been going at it for long time. So good to see the girl power. All right, I've got one last bit of fun. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, this one is, hey, Mr. Wilson.
As in Russell Wilson?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Mr. Wilson. Their daughter, Sienna?
Come on, you're so close. You've never been this close before.
Sienna? Their daughter, Sienna. Okay, not their daughter. Was it Sierra?
All right, you know what?
I'm confusion.
Okay, the answer is Future Wilson, because it was reported earlier this week that Sierra and Russell have officially changed Future's last name.
Surname,
Now, according to reports, Sierra and Russ actually legally changed Future's last name quite a bit ago. We're just now finding out about it because it wasn't none of our business. Vibe.com is saying that Future's last name is actually now, in fact, Future Zahir Wilborn Wilson. That's his full name. So he didn't lose his biological father's name. He just added on Russell's name, which I love because he's not the, what do they say? I'm not the father who, what do they say? I'm not the father. He's the father that stepped up. I'm not the stepfather. I'm the father that stepped up. So I love to see it. I love to see people's kids getting loved on and treated like their own child. Like, why would you not?
That's lovely.
Why would you not want that?
I love that it happened a long time ago. And so we're just finding this out. And it was just like, duh,
Yes. All right. Well, that concludes our game of Somebody Said. You know what? It will be fun if we ever do this live and we can have like the audience. Maybe we'll pick some people to come and join us.
You need
to phone a friend. But it's all on you for now, friend. You just gotta.
All on me. Exactly. We gotta phone. We gotta. Child.
Oh my gosh, it's a brain
Whistle
game.
down one was funny though. Lady whistle down. That's funny.
Lady whistle down. Okay, let's get into our next segment, or really our first segment. I want to talk about the VMAs. Let's do a quick recap of the VMAs. It was fun. Did you get a chance?
I didn't watch it. I watched clips of it.
Okay.
But not even really. I watched clips of clips.
Okay.
They said it was good this year too.
I didn't see all of it. What's going on? I didn't see all of it. But I did see, I feel like the best of what I needed to see. So let me see what I can share with you all. I will say, the MTV VMAs took place this last weekend on September 7th. You'll recall that LL Cool J was the host. There were some really great, standout performances. Sabrina Carpenter performed. Doja Cat did great. Lady Gaga did phenomenal. Busta Rhymes did really great. He actually really helped to bridge the gap between the new school and the old school, because he invited Glorilla and some other younger artists to come out and perform his hits with him. Me personally, my standout performance was Tate McRae. Okay. I don't know where this girl came from. I wasn't familiar with her work. Can you guys see my screen? Let me see if I'm sharing. Here we go. But apparently she did not come to play. Let's play a little bit.
I did see a clip of this performance.
Yes. Okay, Britney's child. That's what it was giving me.
It really is giving old school Britney Spears.
Britney taught me. I don't know who learned you, but Britney learned me. And then, of course, Mariah Carey was absolutely amazing. And she performed each and every one of the songs for which, in my opinion, MTV should have given her awards for previously. She even brought Bianca out and popped her in her face real quick. So that was cute. Jessica Simpson came out. She looked amazing. Ariana Grande was there. Sierra looked great. She should have performed. I stand by that. I don't know what that was about. We talked about Lotto and Spice. Ice Spice was there, and they did their little play off of Mariah and Whitney. It was cute. Overall, it was cute, but I will say a huge mark was missed in that MTV did not do right by Ananda Lewis.
Well, it's 10 a.m. and you know what that means. Male.
So Busta Rhymes did come out and did acknowledge her and say a few words, but why wasn't there an actual formal like in memory of Ananda showing, her highlighted clips with BT during her time there? Why didn't other artists who maybe she interviewed come out and speak about their time with Ananda? Why didn't Carson Daly and her other co-workers come out and, do a tribute? Like, she was such a staple.
A staple for MTV,
at the actual MTV. And they were such great friends, and it was just such a missed opportunity. For those of you who may not know, Ananda Lewis was an MTV and BTVJ from the 90s. She actually graduated cum laude from HU. So I didn't know that about her. I researched it, and I thought that was really cool. Her first hosting gig was on Teen Summit on BET, and then from there she was offered a job as a VJ on MTV's TRL and another show called Hot Zone. She was, like I said, just a staple. Like, she was a staple.
She's that girl of MTV. Like, she was on all of the shows.
She was on all the shows. She had incredible range. Okay. She can go from introducing rap groups like Wu-Tang to covering the Columbine shootings. She really was one of the pioneers in this infotainment space that we all have kind of grown accustomed to. And then, sadly, she just passed away June 11th. She lost her battle with breast cancer. I'm not sure why Ananda was not more of a focal point throughout the show. MTV has they just got to do better. They have just got to do better, in my opinion.
Makes me wonder about some stuff for sure.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So next up, I want to talk to you guys about, let's go here. Because maybe, did you get a chance to watch? I'm just going to talk about it. I'll talk about it. You'll let me know.
Let's see.
You'll let me know. Okay. I want to talk about Unknown Catfish. Okay. So did you get a chance to watch it? Because I know we talked about it a little bit, and we had said that
just because of everything that happened in the week, this fell to this. I'm never watching anything you recommend to me again.
Oh.
Yeah, this was too much.
We didn't like
this was too much. It's not about, I don't think it's a question of like or not like. I think it's sane and not sane.
I can't control people's sanity, friend. I'm just trying to let you know. That it was crazy out here. It was crazy to watch.
I got so many thoughts about this.
Okay, so then let's talk to the people. Remember, we talked to you guys a little bit about Unknown Catfish. Is that what it's called? No, Black people are
unknown number.
People are Unknown Catfish. It's such a better hook, but it's called Unknown Number, the high school catfish. And okay, so if you recall, this is a small town in Bill City, Michigan. They've got 2 bars, 1 stop sign. Everybody is in everybody's business. It's so small and condensed to the point where, like, even the parents and the grown-ups go to these high school parties, the Halloween kickbacks, whatever. So there's Lauren and Owen, and they are a couple. Lauren is really all into her sports and whatnot, and they're like the it couple around town. And all of a sudden they start getting these really deranged. It reminds me of like A from Pretty Little Liars, which don't even get me started, but that was another staple show for me. She's getting these calls, and these text messages rather, and it's a group chat. So it's always the catfish, Lauren, and Owen on this group chat. The most degrading, depraved things were said. They were sexually explicit things. They were just disgusting.
They were extremely, explicit things.
Yes. And also it started to get worse and worse towards the end, where this catfish was actually telling Lauren to off herself. Like, no one likes you. You're so ugly. You're anorexic. You should just off yourself. No one will miss you. It was so dark. The parents were super stressed out. They asked the school to get involved. The school was like, hey, this is out of our range. Take you to the local police station. Police station investigates it for a while. They really just kept telling the parents to get the kid's new phone. Lauren and Owen eventually break up. Okay. He still continues to get stalked. There's multiple suspects throughout, because we know there's someone in close proximity to these teens, because the details that they know when she scored so many points at a game. They have pictures of her when she's inside of the family vehicle, taking like a car ride. They know when they're having family events. So it's someone close to them. So they've suspected cousins. They've suspected the school bully, for lack of a better whatever. They've suspected all these different people. And I'm about to give you the spoiler. Spoiler if you don't know.
Right. You got 5 seconds to go ahead and log off if you don't want the
3,
spoiler.
2, 1. It turns out this whole time that the person who's doing all this deranged stalking was Lauren's very own biological mother. This lady was harassing her daughter. She was an IT, so she knew how to ping and hide her number through secret sites, and she had multiple devices that she was doing this. I mean, when I tell you she was up from sun up to sundown, they said this lady was not working either job. She was supposed to be working 2 jobs. She wasn't working 0 jobs, not for a couple of weeks, not for a couple of months, but they suspect either for years or she never worked there to begin with. And she just spent her time harassing her own daughter. When I tell you, my mind was blown, but it wasn't blown all that much because she was on my suspect list, because I had just watched that Jussie Smollett documentary, and I'm like, they can throw me off, they can throw me off. And I'm like, it could be mom, but I'm like, no, they're showing the mom. But I'm like, no, they showed Jussie. She could just be out of jail. They don't get a lot of time anyway, them over there. So I was still so disturbed and disgusted that it was Lauren's own mother. And then what really saddened me after all of this was that, Lauren still wanted to have this connection with her mom, even though she was in jail. She's like, I want to talk to her. I don't want to be separated from her at all. Now, usually I'm an advocate for not cutting off parents. But baby, this is somebody that you don't need in your life anymore. Like, just imagine you get married and she pulls this stunt, trying to take your husband. Like, it's just the deranged. Okay, what was going through your mind when you were watching Unknown Catfish?
When they first put the mom on the screen, I said something's off. Didn't know what it was. I wasn't suspecting her to be the unknown caller, the unknown number, the cat. I wasn't expecting quite that, but something was off when they put her on the screen. I originally thought that she was the mother of the boy, the mother of Owen, and not the mother of Lauren. I don't know why I thought that for like the first 15 minutes.
Yeah.
It just, so my takeaway was, and the reason I think I suspected that was the teens, when they started dating very young. They were not yet in high school, and they were talking about how they were this it couple. And I found that like interesting. I'm like, they're like 7th, 8th grade, 8th, 9th grade, like not too much, right? So that I was like, I don't know, child, small town stuff. Let me man my big city business. Maybe I just don't know, right? But then, because like most of the time, like you wouldn't want this young of children to have to be too much into someone they're dating at that young of an age. So that's what struck me as odd. And I was like, maybe they're just explaining it like this for the dramatics of the documentary. So I continue watching, and when once I realized that the mom was the mom of Lauren, the girl, I was like, ooh, is that her biological child? Yeah. That's interesting. They don't look anything alike. Lauren is very conventionally attractive, right? She's a very cute girl. She has the blonde hair, the natural blonde hair, the blue eyes. She's this like super athlete. She's doing so well with like everything that she does. And it doesn't seem like she needs a whole lot of validation from the way they told the story about friends and stuff. Like she's very quiet. And it seems like she's just naturally good at like everything, right? Like it didn't seem like anything was hard for her.
Athletic, like sports oriented.
Yeah. And so that I kept that little nugget in the back of my head because I was just like, okay, this is interesting. Then I noticed before we get to the end and they reveal who the catfish is, I noticed that the father and the mom of Lauren are filming in 2 different places. They're not ever together. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe all of this ended up breaking down their marriage or something. Not really sure. But we keep going. And when they broke up, I said, now hold on. Why is the boy still getting messages? And then someone he started dating started getting messages. And then he had to break up with that girl. Because it's like, what is going on? Now, the messages were sexually explicit. There were messages of prompting these children, or prompting Lauren specifically, to off herself, to unalive herself. I'm using certain language because of, where we have to post our videos. And then I'm like, where would such venom come from? Now, the bully that they accused, now I went off after the documentary and actually started doing
why are you always going down rabbit holes?
Because the documentary pissed me off so bad.
Tap in, tap out. Tap in, tap out, Fred.
I could not stand the fact. I said, how hard is it to figure out who is sending these messages?
That was another thing. So they actually had to, because it was overwhelming, the police department of Bill City, Michigan. It got forwarded to the FBI, and it took the FBI 2 weeks to be like, hey, let's, I don't know, cross-reference some of these numbers with the IP addresses or whatever of this app. And hey, this one number is the one that keeps coming up. Like, you never thought to, I don't know, cross-reference these numbers before. That
pissed me off so bad.
It was insane. And then it pissed off.
How does a police department not have the resources to look up an IP address?
It pissed off the person who was accused. I don't know that young lady's name offhand, but her family was pissed because, mind you, her dad, I believe, was a police officer.
He was.
And
I have thought about that too.
Just imagine being accused of this. It was several people that were just, and their kids in this small town being falsely accused of carrying out this deranged act. And so, like, in that moment when it's happening, you're losing fringe, you're being talked about unfairly, you're being gossiped about. It was just so wrong on so many levels.
It was.
Listen, on that number, talk about being upset. My husband came downstairs because I was with my mom and we fell asleep on the couch. We were watching something else. And it was kind of one of those moments. It was like, let sleeping babies lie because she hasn't been feeling well. So I'm like, she's finally resting, getting some good sleep. He come downstairs like, it was the mom. And he just starts talking. I'm like, shh. Talking. I told you he just be talking, girl. Talking. He was livid. He was livid for you, Lauren. He was livid. It was crazy. So, unknown caller, boy, I will say that this is a good soft launch into the remainder of the white on white crime that we're going to be discussing. Because hey, ain't had nothing to do with us. All right, so let's move on from the mama being. What were some of the movies that were like that? Like back in the day when a mom is just completely deranged. Remember the wire hanger? I can't remember.
That was Mommy Dearest.
It was giving Mommy Dearest. It was giving.
That was Mommy Dearest. She was deranged for sure. Yeah. And I guess there's that one element, but at least her child was adopted. This was insane. That woman sent 350,000 text messages in close to 2 years to the two of them.
Yeah, and she also drove the family to go into debt, lied to the husband about where the money was being spent. It's a lot. Seek therapy. Okay, let's move on to talk about from a mom that lost her mind to a woman that has lost thousands of jobs for the American economy. Can't have nice things. Can't have nice things. All right, so I'm sure you have heard right now about this Tory Branham character who is come out on her own. Nobody asked her. Okay. Have you heard about this?
The Hyundai?
Yeah.
Hyundai?
Hyundai, I believe, came out and let everyone know that she was in fact the person to tip off the feds so that they could raid a plant in her town. And I'm being nice by showing this article because this is a heavily face-tuned picture. But she proudly called the feds to let them know that a plant in Georgia was violating workplace violations. The feds initially went in there to look at one person and ended up doing a major raid that resulted in 475 people being detained, including 300 South Korean nationals. Now, this was quite interesting because I believe that she's running to be some sort of elected official in her town. Child, I don't know, but I'm going to actually play you guys a video so that you can, because sometimes y'all don't listen to us. So I want, that's why we give notes. Y'all don't be listening to us. But I want you guys to hear from someone who works there exactly what the implications of this will be.
Someone who worked on the Blue Oval Ford plant, Blue Oval City up here in Stanton, Tennessee, kind of, in between Jackson and Memphis. I stayed there for about a year last year working on this project. And let me tell you something, a woman who is claiming that she called ICE on that Hyundai plant in Georgia, this is going to be so much bigger than just Hyundai. Okay? Ford itself, the most American car manufacturer you can think of, every single bit of our machinery was set up and programmed by South Koreans. The engineering of the building, the engineering of the machines, every bit of it was done by SK Engineering out of South Korea. Yes, the same SK that is part of SKT T1 Telecom, the big league team. Yeah, Baker, this guy, their engineering branches who designed and set up the machines. What they do is for the the years that the plant is being built, because South Korea is heavily invested in our electric vehicle manufacturing and production. So what they do is they design the machines, send them over here, we set them up, mill rights, everything else. We set the iron, we set the building up, we get everything up. And then they come over, set up the machines, and then train American workers how to run the machines. This woman not only just cost Georgia billions of dollars with this plant, because I highly doubt that South Korea will send their workers back. If they do, it's going to be under very strict rules for the Trump administration. If you don't think that word will get around to every other car manufacturer, because it's not just Hyundai, it is Ford, it's Chevy, it's Nissan, Mazda, Toyota, every single one of them. The machines are designed, installed, and set up by South Koreans. It's the biggest. It's when you think of car plants, it's intertwined. So no, you idiots have not only just cost Georgia billions, you've created a massive diplomatic problem that this administration will not be able to handle right. And on top of that, there's a good chance that any of these other car plants that have gone up in the last few years that haven't had their machines set up yet, odds are you've just fucked with those jobs as well. You are talking about tens of thousands of American jobs, poof, up in smoke. So congratulations, MAGA. Your racism is once again going to cost us billions of dollars because you guys can't get over the fact that people who aren't white are better than you.
I mean, yeah. I'm going to pull up an article from CNN that reports that as a result of this deal, landing these very skilled workers in handcuffs,
I saw,
did not take very kindly to. These jobs, the plant, the work is currently on hold. It is unclear when these workers will be allowed back to continue working, what the future of the Korean investment in the U.S. may look like, or what will become of the Hyundai plant. Okay. It is also reported that, yes, there are some negotiations going on that maybe there will be some different type of new visa categories. It's just ridiculous. When I tell you this site was slated to be Hyundai's first fully electrified vehicle and battery manufacturing campus in the U.S. This was a project state leaders promised would bring 8,500 jobs and transform the rural economy.
Economy in Georgia, yeah.
And she's happy about it. Like, her reaction is pretty much like, I mean, I said that I want to get rid of the illegals, and so I did what I said I was going to do. She's very combative. She does not care that she costs billions of dollars, no type of future sight in mind. Just very indignant overall. Do you have any notes?
Racism is a cancer that is literally killing this country. Yeah. It's killing the country in so many different ways. And I think it's apparent that there is such a short-sightedness. Like, fine, like, you know what? If you're racist, you're racist. You know, that's not even, I'm not here to change someone's mind or heart on how they feel about other people. Fine. But given that there's this balance and we all exist here together, right? When it is, they're cutting off their nose to spite their face over and over and over again. And even though they realize like their nose is gone, they're not pivoting. They're leaning into it heavier. Like to your point, she's very indignant about it. She's like, so what? And there's such a short-sightedness. It's like the empire is falling every day, a huge chunk. I just picture like the US being like this huge mountain, and every day a huge chunk falls off based on these extremely racist, racially charged acts. And it's like, are y'all okay? Like, how you personally feel, fine. But why would you want a state to lose jobs and billions of dollars? How does that help you? I also think outside of being short-sighted, it's also a lack of intelligence. Just from, like, I get it, not everyone went and got an economics degree, but this is just basic economics. And if you don't have the skilled workers, why are you so upset that someone else is here? I personally, I saw a news clip of when these workers actually landed in South Korea. I'm also like, putting out thoughts and prayers for them, because imagine you're just working and you're I can't even imagine the trauma. You're already in a different country. You've not done anything wrong. And you just get basically kidnapped and, swept off and detained. And they were detained for a moment before South Korea sent planes to come and pick them up. Their government officials had to send planes to come and pick them up. And the government officials, when they landed, there was very clear instruction in the airport when they landed to not film their faces because of possible further persecution from the states.
Yeah.
So the few that did speak on camera to, reporters asked, like, do you think you would go back? And they were like, no. And you could see that their families were very like shaken up, and there were protesters out. Like, I would be really surprised would you ever, if this were to happen to you, you were in another country, you were just an expat doing some work and this happened to you, would you ever go back?
No, I would never go back. And in fact, I'm petty enough to be like, if this was my deal, this was a deal, and you did this to me or my people, and I had any say in it, I'm stopping all my business operations and interactions with you. And we'll reconvene when you're no longer in office, because you and your people are clearly incompetent. Moving on to another, when I tell you, listen, white on white crime is at an all-time high. So we have another day, another school shooting on the books. This one sadly happened at Evergreen High School in Colorado. Uh-oh. There we go. All right. So this took place this past week. We now know that 2 students were victims. Uh-oh. I'm on the wrong page. Okay. 2 students were victims, and they were injured in the shooting in the Colorado high school. Time is reporting that the suspect later died from self-inflicted gunshot wound. He was Desmond Holly, a 16-year-old student who attended the school. We don't fully know the reason. We can guess why this happened, why this took place. But it's just another day in America, unfortunately. Officers responded to the school. They made contact with the suspect in about 5 minutes. They have not shared the details of that interaction. 3 students are believed to have suffered from the gunshot wounds, were transported for medical treatment, still are receiving treatment, their status unknown. And it's devastating to know that we are still dealing with this. They're going to be maybe releasing more details, but they suspect that the suspect was radicalized by some extremist network. Surprise, surprise. They've gone ahead and they've executed search warrants, looked through the suspect's home, phone, and locker. He didn't bring a vehicle to school. He took the bus. And so they've tried to contact his parents, and the parents are reportedly being cooperative with the investigation. Time also includes a little tidbit here that so far in the year in the US, and this is written in September of 2025, there have been 300 reported mass shootings, according to the Gun Violence Archive. And just a couple of weeks ago, that number was only 286. About 47 school shootings have occurred so far in 2025, according to a CNN analysis. And then another report with Everytown for Gun Safety has stated that at least 100 gunfire incidents reported on school property so far this year have resulted in 32 deaths and 98 injuries. Another report done by AP, I'll share that as well. They suspect that the shooter had expressed neo-Nazi views, was fascinated, in fact, with these neo-Nazi views that he watched online. He was fascinated with the mass shootings in Columbine. He's been very active online, where the content is all about killing and violence and white supremacism, anti-Semitism, and extremism in every direction. This is tell us all this time at this point. And, instead of really advocating for some common sense gun laws, we still have people who are rabidly advocating that everyone have access to these weapons of, military force without proper background checks. And this is the result. Any thoughts? Any notes?
I find this shooting particularly interesting. I think sometimes the universe really does try to course correct us, many times to no avail. But I do think that the universe tries its best to course correct. It is very interesting and not lost upon me that it is 25 years later since Columbine's mass school shooting. Yeah. This is only 30 minutes away from Evergreen, Colorado, where this week's school shooting happened in Colorado. And from then to now, so much has happened. But I do find it very interesting that 25 years later, a shooting of this sort happened in the same place, basically. 30 minutes is nothing. So I can't even imagine what trauma that brought up for those who likely still live in Columbine. And, you know, like it probably triggered a lot in them, perhaps things they had not even thought of in a long time. And that nothing has changed in all of this time. It's just it's so disheartening that we've not moved any further in 25 years.
Yeah.
It's really bizarre. I don't know why as a country we really don't care. It's like I can't come to any other conclusion aside from the fact that collectively as a country we don't care. We as individuals may, you know, care a ton, but collectively somehow we can't dig deep enough to get enough individuals in power to be empathetic to really get this. This doesn't happen in any other westernized society. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane.
I am going to share just a little bit more information. I'm just going to try to go through it. Sharing these pictures because Oren Siegel, the ADL Senior Vice President of Counter Extremism and Intelligence, says there is a through line between those attacks. They're telling us that there is a through line because they are referencing each other in the way that the shooter was fascinated with Columbine. I'm also just going to read out loud a report from almost 20 years ago to date that talks about how the FBI warned of white supremacists in law enforcement, warned about the extremism that was on the rise, and really was urging that people take action in getting this under control. It says that much of the bulletin may have been redacted, but in it, the FBI identified white supremacists and law enforcement as a concern because of their access to both restricted areas vulnerable to sabotage and elected officials or people who could be seen as potential targets for violence. The report goes on to say at least one white supremacist group has reportedly encouraged this was a group, extremist group called Ghost Skins, to seek positions in law enforcement for the capability of alerting skinhead crews of pending investigative action against them. At that time, they had reported that, you know, the officers, including a deputy police chief, were fired after an FBI informant outed them as members of the Ku Klux Klan. Okay. And there's all type of implications about the growing number of hate groups in America. The FBI was doing what it could do, but as we know, this work was ongoing and it was recently ordered to be scaled back by this current administration, at least that scope of work, where you know, they are no longer allowed to really focus and scale on any domestic terrorism probes. This report says that the FBI has cut staffing in an office that's focused on domestic terrorism and has scrapped a tool that was used to track such investigations. Mind you, this was March 21st, 2025. Okay. The The move, sources said, are an indication that domestic terrorism investigations, which in recent years have largely involved violence fueled by right-wing ideologies, they're going to be less of a priority under the FBI Director Kash Patel, who was a critic of the effort. This report says that some sources said the changes will reduce the FBI's ability to effectively monitor threats posed by white supremacists and militia groups and potentially hamper law enforcement's ability to disrupt those plots. Mm-hmm. This moves come despite repeated warnings from U.S. officials in recent years that domestic violent extremism is presenting some of the most significant security threats to the United States. I don't think we could be more clear that this is a choice because you guys do not like the way the offenders look. If this was a group of people that looks like me or you or anyone else with melanin, this would not be allowed to take place in the United States of America. But because these are white men at the helm, they're just they're allowed to do whatever they want to do. And we see now where that is definitely playing a role in a lot of what has happened this past week.
Yeah.
It's a choice. It's a choice.
I think it's, the veil is just completely lifted. You can see everything like so clearly. Mm-hmm. The mere fact that we don't have an entire committee focused on this, because I used to work in politics. This has been an issue year in and year out, from administration to the next administration to the next administration. It has been widely known by our governments federally, statewide, that this is just as we name those groups in regions across the world. For us, this white terroristic supremacy groups that become galvanized and radicalized online has been something that the FBI has known about for many, 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 many years. Mm-hmm. And somehow we can manage to go to another country, address their radicalized groups, and yet we can't seem to even address the radicalized groups within our own borders. Something about that, to your point, that is a choice. That is a choice. So again, extremely disheartening, but after what happened with Sandy Hook, I knew that it was not in my lifetime. I know having the audacity of hope is an amazing way to live and be. But after what happened in Sandy Hook, I said, it's never ending. If they let this keep going after Sandy Hook, it's never ending.
Yeah, that was really particularly egregious because that happened to babies, toddlers, kindergartners. I'm going to also read this article from Politico where it talks about the Department of Homeland Security urging that white supremacists are our greatest terror threat. Okay. Just so that everyone is clear on where we stand for the rest of the show. According to the article, white supremacists present the gravest terror threat to the United States, according to a draft report from the Department of Homeland Security. It goes on to say that This draft document seems to be consistent with earlier intelligence reports from the Department of Homeland Security, the FBI, and other law enforcement sources that the most significant terror-related threat facing the U.S. today comes from violent extremists who are motivated by white supremacy and other far-right ideological causes. Okay? Goes on to continue to say that, the key takeaways are that domestic violent extremists are the most persistent and lethal threat, rather than specifically naming the specific white supremacists. But the writing's been on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
The writing has been on the wall. And so we know psychologically the space that these people fall in. We can profile them. We are not unclear about who this person that meets this profile is. And it's a white extremist, far right extremist male. So that's why I was really, really shocked by our next topic, and not shocked in that way, but just shocked at the discourse that occurred, because just based on the state of the state, I just don't kind of understand the confusion. But hey, so let's get into Charlie Kirk.
Lord Jesus.
All right. I think it's best to let Charlie's words speak for themselves, speak for himself, without us even adding commentary from the start. So I am just going to go through and play some of the things that I found Charlie Kirk had to say. And I'm just going to make sure that I'm sharing my screen, that you guys can hear me. T, let me know if the sound is playing or not, because yeah. Okay. And then, you know what? While we're here, and I just, we're going to put that disclaimer in there, because I am going to be showing clips from his show and other shows that he was on, but we're going to be making some commentary and some criticism afterwards. All right, so let me know if you can hear.
Roy Reid and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Angie Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, we would have been called the racist. But now they're coming out and they're saying it for us. They're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously. Play cut 52. Bill Clinton in the 1990s, it was all about empathy and sympathy. I can't stand the word empathy, actually. I think empathy is a made-up New Age term that does a lot of damage, but it is very effective when it comes to politics. Sympathy I prefer more than empathy. That's a separate topic for a different time. The Civil Rights Act was a new founding where we decided to discard the U.S. Constitution and reconstitute the story, the mantra, the creed, and the vision of America. And you even see this in Republican circles as well. Well, they say, well, the Civil Rights Act corrected a lot of the errors of the Constitution. No, it didn't. The Civil Rights Act was a completely new creation. Of course, it was well intended by some. We have acknowledged that many times. But the Civil Rights Act at its core was a new founding. It was the discard what happened prior. The Constitution says people have equal rights. Imagine just treating people equally. The Civil Rights Act does not treat people equally because the legal theory under the Civil Rights Act is disparate impact. And so therefore you can't arrest a bunch of criminals in DC because you might be disproportionately arresting black men, and that might be deemed as racist.
participated in orgies,
I have
and according
some
to
more.
certain government documents, which again, they're FBI documents, so they might be real, they might not be, because we don't trust the FBI, that he very well might have encouraged and laughed while a woman was being raped in a hotel room in one of his very famous orgies. When a man of the cloth who says he's a man of God does that sort of pattern or behavior, I don't think he should have a higher approval rating than Jesus. So how do we explain that? We explain that we have built this mythology around MLK in the modern era. Now, some myths are important, Jason. I'm actually okay with certain myths. I'm okay with certain people of history being larger than life and something we aim towards and something that we want to lift up. But we must be very careful when we do that. I think people that we lift up should be Washington, should be Lincoln, should be Jefferson, the actual founders of the country, where MLK, in my personal opinion and based on every objective analysis, he actually gave us.
That's why I think this United story and the DEI story hits so hard, because we've all been in the back of a plane when the turbulence hits, or when you're flying through a storm and you're like, I'm so glad I saw the guy with the right stuff and the square jaw get into the cockpit before we took off. And I feel better now.
No, I mean, like, you want to go thought crime? Like, I'm sorry. If I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
Well, that's the you wouldn't have done that.
Okay. I have more. Give me 1 second. I'm going to, because it's just going to let his legacy speak for itself.
I'm dealing with somebody in customer service who's a moronic black woman. I wonder, is she there because of her excellence, or is she there because of affirmative action? Almost creates. So that just, it like hurts my heart, because doing what I love has been kind of taken away from me to please other people. Yeah, that's the point, Simone Biles. You're representing your nation, you're selfish sociopath. You kidding me? We are raising a generation of weak people like Simone Biles. Again, if you want to be, if she got all these mental health problems, don't show up. She's an incredible athlete. Of course she's an incredible athlete. I'm not saying, I just said she's probably the greatest gymnast of all time. She's also very selfish. She's immature, and she is a shame to the country. She's totally a sociopath. Of course she's a sociopath. Andrew said she's not a sociopath. What kind of person skips the gold medal match? Who does that? It's a shame to the nation.
LeBron James.
Well, I can go ahead and let that one play as well.
James is a self-interested, narcissistic, and we know he's not very smart. He does these press conferences where he thinks he's making sense spiritually and freedom of speech. But he's a product of his time. What would you expect from LeBron James? It's cool to insult America. It's cool to sell yourself out to China. Not very bright, not wise, not somebody of good character, but as a blow.
I have one last one to show.
That you're not going to get gun deaths to zero. It will not happen. Right. You can significantly reduce them through having more fathers in the home, by having more armed guards in front of schools. We should have an honest and clear reductionist view of gun violence, but we should not have a utopian one. You will never live in a society when you have an armed citizenry and you won't have a single gun death. That is nonsense. It's drivel. But I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year, so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. That is a prudent deal.
Okay. Hey, in his own words, that was community college dropout and race provocateur Charlie Kirk, who was gunned down during an appearance on a college campus this week. I want to be very clear. I knew nothing about this man before his death. Because when I say I protect my peace, I protect my peace. But in doing this show and then, having to research, these were the first times I've heard from his mouth, the vehement racism, misogyny, disgusting rhetoric that he spewed on his podcast day in and day out. T, I will start with you just on your thoughts in hearing what Charlie had to say. And then I will kind of give everyone an update on the fallout that happened after his shooting, because this has been a long week. So I'll let you kick it off. Uh-oh, I don't hear you. Hold on.
Unfortunately, I was aware of who he was. I have made it very every time a video would pop up on any of my feeds, I would immediately say not interested, because I just did not want my algorithms turning into that. So I was very much so aware of who he was. However, I tried to avoid him at all costs, again, trying to protect my peace. And it was the quote about MLK that I was most familiar with. And I was like, nope. Because I follow someone by the name of Tabitha Speaks Politics. And so it just had come up there. And I was like, ooh, no, right? I think his comments are so abhorrent. And if we were just 5-7 years ago in this country, the collective, at least publicly facing collective, would also think that they were or are abhorrent. It is, again, and I guess this is the theme of my notes today, it is just so disheartening to get to know people's hearts through this. Mm-hmm. That's the most disheartening part for me. Ignorance is bliss. And blissfully walking around with so many people that had these same thoughts and feelings, I think is what's been most enlightening and also disappointing. But I will take my enlightenment and I will go. I will take it.
I'll have more on that a little bit later. I think what I'm going to do now is just kind of let's take a look at some of the major events that occurred right after we learned of the shooting death of Charlie Kirk. So let me share my screen and we can just take a look. And then again, just let me know if we have sound. Let's see.
Fight back! White man, 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 fight back! Fight back! White man, fight back!
So as you can see, the headline reads, this is a neo-Nazi protest that breaks out in the aftermath of Charlie Kirk's death. And you can hear the men there in the crowd yelling, "White man, fight back." Now, mind you, at this point in time, we don't know who the shooter is. The shooter is at large. They have questioned a couple of individuals and let them go. So what exactly are you fighting back against, white man? You have no details. Let's move on. I'm going to show you another immediate knee-jerk reaction that took place.
this shit ends. Like, enough is enough. And now I have to deal with real safety concerns. It sounds like the shooter was a tranny or pro-tranny. And just because I want to protect women, that I'm worried about getting murdered? Are you fucking kidding me? It's out of control, and enough is enough. And I'm going to double down on this. I'm going to be more vigilant than ever. I'm going to be louder than I've ever been until this shit stops. It's got to stop. This shit ends.
And I'm at this point, aside from now, we are blaming a group that is such a small representation of the people that we have here in the United States. But based on what evidence that did you think that it was safe enough with your full on chest to go and tell reporters that this small representation of people who are already attacked was at the helm of the shooting? But let's continue. Also, immediately after that, many Black students across college campuses, whether there was a PWI or the 7 historically Black colleges and universities, received death threats and had to go on lockdown. So this is an article from The Guardian that reports that Black students across the U.S. were targeted this week by coordinated racist death threats that forced at least 7 historically Black colleges into emergency lockdowns just a day after far-right activist Charlie Kirk was killed in Utah Valley University. At NYU, Black students reportedly received a threatening manifesto that specifically targeted them, and according to an email seen by The Guardian, the university's Black Student Union. The manifesto was said to contain extremely graphic threats of gun violence and stated the author was coming for only N-words, citing a number of Black students as taking away from a safe space for white people. I will go on to note that the NYU Black Student Union criticized university officials for their lack of transparency, because when they initially received this threat, they allegedly waited for more than 6 hours before informing students that this manifesto was specifically targeted towards Black students. Okay. The 7 historically Black colleges and universities that had to go on lockdown on Thursday included Alabama State University, Virginia State University, Hampton University in Virginia, Spelman College, Southern University and A&M College, Clark Atlanta University, Morehouse College, and Bethune-Cookman University. It's ridiculous. How did we get into this? We showed you a picture earlier of the people that are known to participate in such activities. Why are we in it?
No idea. How we get in it?
How did we get in it? Okay. And then, of course, we soon found out that the shooter was, in fact, allegedly another far-right extremist white guy by the name of Tyler Robinson. He is the suspect in Charlie Kirk's murder. Ironically enough, there was a man in his household, comes from a 2-parent Christian Mormon home. I believe his father is some sort of pastor.
Yeah.
According to USA Today, he is a former straight A student from Utah. He, of course, was another person who they say he wasn't very political, but he had become more political. The family comes from a long line of Trump supporters. The mom reportedly voted for Trump. Dad reportedly voted for Trump. It's reported that he himself voted for Trump in the first election. They're unsure of how he voted this time around. But yeah, this was the actual person after unfairly calling out transgender people and threatening with gun violence. So you learned absolutely nothing, to harm and maim and murder Black college students on their college campuses. The call is coming from inside the house.
The call is coming from inside the house.
I'm just
on fire.
Anything else that'll be useful to this conversation? They say that his family and a friend helped deliver him into the custody of law enforcement. I've read other reports that said it was the dad noticed him and recognized him from the footage. This report is saying that it was a family and a friend that helped deliver him into the custody. This is absolutely insane that this is happening. I mean, they say that he was a quiet kid who became more political in recent years. He has no criminal history according to state records. He currently lacks party affiliation. His parents are both registered Republicans. I want to get to where they kind of describe his thought process. Let's see if I can keep going. He apparently wore a Trump-related Halloween costume in 2017. I just want to speak to his state of mind. Here it is. Excuse me. It says that at the dinner table before Kirk came to Utah Valley University for the event at which he was killed, Tyler Robinson talked in disparaging terms about the conservative activists. A family member that was interviewed said that there was a conversation where they talked about why they did not like Charlie Kirk or his viewpoints, and that the family member also stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate. Okay. She believes this is someone named Shervin, believes that social media may have played a role in shaping his views. Quote, "There's just too much hate out there. I know he wasn't taught those things. I have no hate for him, even though I loved Charlie Kirk. I'd rather try to go understand what was going on in his mind." It goes on to say that online influence seemingly appeared in the messages that authorities alleged that Robinson inscribed on the actual ammunition that was used in his killing. There was lots of meme talk. There's an Italian song, Ciao Bella, something with OWO. It was just all kind of all over the place. But it was like references to video game, like what they say, streamers say in video games. Oh, yes. Okay. So one of the unfired casings, according to Cox, said, "Oh, Bella, ciao, ciao, ciao." These lyrics referenced an anthem of anti-fascist Italian resistance during World War II. Another one said, "Hey, fascist, catch." This casing also had a series of arrows that pointed up, right, down, down, and down, an apparent reference to a shooter video game called Helldivers 2. This is code for an airstrike. So we can go on and on and on, but again, this is someone that was heavily influenced by violent video games. He was influenced by online discussions. He was not in agreement at this time, at least, with Charlie Kirk, and thought that he was quite hateful. I've also kind of seen in other reports that maybe he was a follower that was more closely in line with, I believe the guy's name is Nick Fuentes. Again, y'all know I told you I don't know these people, who is another more extreme far right.
It's the overlap of MAGA. It's the groups are in their own little silos, and they are all MAGA, but they don't all align on the agree. Some are more extreme in one direction versus another. They're all very extreme, yet one they're so intolerant as we all, as people of color and Black people and LGBTQ people and trans people know of their extreme intolerance. They're so intolerant that they're intolerant of even diverse thought within their zeitgeist. So they all believe in what is going on with the administration, but maybe not the way they're going about doing it. And even that would galvanize someone to do something like this simply because they don't agree with the other leader of one of the silos. That's how intolerant they are.
I think another big part of this discussion is just how people are revering Charlie Kirk now that he is dead, and the very close monitoring of how you refer to him, the attacks on people who have very outwardly said that I am either I'm very unbothered by his death, or I do not grieve. A lot of things of what I'm seeing is people are just actually sharing his own sentiments, his own words. They're just basically quoting him. And people are deeming that as an inappropriate response. I'm just trying to make it make sense. If it's an inappropriate response now, then what would have made it an inappropriate response when it was first said by him?
When he was saying it, when he was spewing it, like why wasn't it inappropriate then? Why is it inappropriate for me to quote him, but it's not inappropriate for him to have been saying it and spreading it from one university to the next? It's so bizarre. I actually came across this professor's post on Instagram, and he was expressing how his life, he was doxxed for simply disagreeing with this man in real life, like when he was alive. He simply disagreed with something he said, and he sent his followers after him, and they doxed him. He had death threats. He had to have a security escort, and he was a professor at Georgetown. Georgetown, and this is not even just like I'm an influencer disagreeing with another influencer. I am a professor who has studied sociology or studied psychology or history or African American studies or American studies, and I have a professional expertise opinion that I have shared, and it has warranted me to be doxxed and receive death threats. And at the end of his post, he said, I'll start a little higher. If you are a part of a marginalized community, he did not care about you. He would not mourn for you. And he very much believed you didn't deserve equal treatment. For those of us who had personal experience with him and received his direct attacks, do not tell us how to feel. He died in the world he wanted. You'll never understand. And I thought that was quite poignant, and it did not rejoice in his death. It told this man's lived experience. And of course, there were still people in the comments saying, who do you think you are? And this is his lived experience. There is evidence of this. There is him having to reach out to the campus police. It is him having to file reports, to have escorts take him to and from his car every day. having to protect his family. Like, and him saying this, like, it's so incredibly bizarre. And I'm speechless. I have many thoughts, but I'm still just so speechless behind this reverence.
It's also the blatant show of hypocrisy, in that his followers want so much grace to be shown to him and his wife and his kids and his legacy. And yet he spent day in and day out using his platform to disparage those people who did not look like him, did not share his same ideals or values, and really, really sent harm their way. What I completely disagree with so many people about is this idea that words are not violent when they are. Rhetoric
words are absolutely violent.
can definitely be violent. That's why there's a such thing as verbal abuse, and there's a such thing as hate speech. You can trigger someone's PTSD responses or their cortisol, and you can cause them stress and duress and make them feel unsafe. And that's the minimal of what can be done, right? On the other side of it, you can incite people to act upon those words in a violent way. And that's what we've seen with this base that he has galvanized with his rhetoric, because words are violent. I think that he was a very, very dangerous man. I don't think that there is anything to be revered, anything endearing about him from what I saw. There's even just some discourse within that community that he didn't really believe in some of the things that he was advocating for, but he was being pressured by the powers to be to keep speaking on it. And that too speaks on you having a lack of sound morals and integrity and being able to say what you truly believe. It's a grift. You did all of that to end up right where the people that you were arguing with were trying to say. People like you pose a danger to our greater collective safety.
100%. 100%. And I think what's so sort of tragically poetic about it, because I know I know we will in the near future at some point cover grifters. And I know we have to prepare to do a show like that, because that is going to be quite the show. That's something Tel and I have talked about for quite some time, is the grifting that happens online. But what I find so tragically poetic about this is there is this fanning of a fire of taking these, if I'm coming from, let's say, an empathetic position, they are taking these wayward, lost minds of these typically young or younger white men, all right, or older boys, and giving them this false sense of belonging, and then using that belonging and that original loneliness and twisting their minds. If I'm coming from a place of empathy, right? Because that's the part that is very interesting, that this country just doesn't want to have the conversation, because we really do need to have a conversation about what is driving these young men to even go down this path. That's the conversation we've not had. And as we said about Columbine and Evergreen, Colorado, what is forcing them to go down these paths where we haven't even broken down that psychology to a point where we can say, hey, we're seeing some behaviors in this young man. We need to pull him in and get him some help. How is it that we're not there after 25 years of where we were in 1999? It's insane. But coming back to, as it relates to the individual that has murdered Charlie Kirk, it's like all of this fallout, all of this venom, all of this vitriol towards the people that Charlie Kirk himself harmed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, not only did we not have anything to do with it when he was alive, we avoided him the way you would avoid a plague.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you say? My name is in it and I ain't in it. I'm going over here. We're over here with our popping our fans, doing our line dances. We're ignoring all of this as much as humanly possible. Some of us never even knowing about him.
Me, yeah.
And then not only are we ignoring him, and we're like at a higher energy, we're like, you know what, trash. Like we have nothing to do with that sort of deal. But then we find out not only did the person that did this to him was a part of the zeitgeist, a part of
it was an op. This whole time, it was one of your ops in the house.
It's so bizarre, and I'm sitting here, and I'm like, and you all are still driving this farce, this false narrative, trying to go in a different direction of what it really is. This is not, if we're talking and left versus right, that would be extremely, like, it would be such hypocrisy. We're trying to get the gun laws changed where this doesn't happen to people. So why would we be walking around with weapons of mass destruction?
I didn't even touch on or pull up the conversation in the discourse around, of course they blamed crazy lefties, libtards for being at the helm of this. But where was this equal reaction when recently, some of the Democrats were
political violence against
political violence and the puppy, you know what I mean? And the dog too. Where was this outcry? His coverage even superseded that of the Colorado shooting, where it's young, innocent people who are not spewing hate,
the most vulnerable,
or, just there to get their education, lost their lives. We have to make
eclipse 9/11 remembrances and celebrations.
It shadowed everything. It's even to the point now where when they ask y'all's president his thoughts on the matter, and I've seen multiple times in multiple interviews where he has deflected to talking about the ballroom. What were you doing when you heard about Charlie Kirk? I was building or doing this gorgeous ballroom. Like, we are clearly not okay. America has a problem. America has a problem.
Yeah.
Until you are willing to be honest about the mental incapacity of this domestic terrorist, these white far right domestic terrorists, and get them checked, get them under checked, don't send the military to Chicago. Send them to Utah. Send them to Colorado.
Exactly.
Clean up the house. Don't worry about gang on gang violence in Chicago. Worry about this white on white crime that is running rampant. It's what makes America unstable. It's what takes over the news coverage worldwide.
taking out their own children, taking out their own babies.
Then we have Serena Joy. I'm sorry. Whatever Charlie Kirk's wife is. It's been 12 hours later and she's already on this path in this commitment to continue the grift. Ma'am, did you need some time to grieve? They have likened his life, I've seen some posts, to Martin Luther King, the very man that he so
that stood against everything that he stands for. It's so disgusting. It's so incredibly disgusting. And I always tell this. I tell this all the time. One thing I don't do is play about my ancestors.
She does say that every day, almost every day.
And when I do get emotional about things, it is usually when someone has disrespected the ancestors. I think we all stepped into life and found out how hard just adulting was. And so when I'm having a hard time, I often think about, if it was all left on me, I don't know if I would have been able to get the next generation here, because it's just so incredibly hard and challenging. And then to know that they had all of this on there, they had to go to work every day, earn a living, take care of a family, and deal with all of this crap. And then put all of these and have such forward thinking, be of such higher intelligence and thoughtfulness, care, and love to say we need these rights to be written into the Constitution for our children and our children's children, which are now us. And so when people blatantly disrespect them, it hurts my heart so much. Like, it is, if there is anything I get emotional about, it is that. Because I just we don't know how many lifetimes we get. And I know they got one. And they had to deal with this all the time. And so it just makes me so incredibly sad when people are throwing dirt on their names, when they did so much, not only for us, but for everybody else.
Yeah.
So it's like, how did we get here? And every time I turn around, there is a person that has MLK's name in their mouth every time they want to make a point.
Yeah.
And now we're completely denigrating his legacy. I just really want, it's fine. Be who you are. Have all the hate in your heart that you want. Can y'all please leave us out of it? Just leave us out of it.
I wish that I could find, I'll do some more research and I will follow up with this on our next show. But there was, and this was from a while back, that's why it's not at the front of my mind, but there was like a TikTok or a reel or a short going around of this white guy explaining that, hey, what do you guys think white people were doing before we were considered white and attacking all these people of color? We were fighting with each other. Like, they have never been a peaceful people. They have never been a nonviolent people. They have never been a non-conquering people. People of color, FBAs, Black people are not your problem. I want you to try to, this is going to be a stretch because you have not demonstrated that you're able to do so, but I want you to be a little bit more forward thinking. Who are you going to oppress and detest and attack when your little mission to whitewash America takes place? You're just going to go back to hating each other because you're a hateful group of people. That's something
you just demonstrated that
feel within yourself that has nothing to do with any of the rest of us.
Nothing.
Remove us from the group chat. Remove us from the group chat. Let's move on to some rapid fire, just a few quick notes. Yeah, let's move on. I want to talk about something else, child. It don't even matter. Something else.
Something else. Jesus.
Okay. Let's just do just for fun, some really quick notes. These are going to be rapid fire. Just give me the first couple of thoughts that come to your mind. Okay. Quick note. Y'all's president has decided to not bring the military to Chicago after all. Thoughts on that?
The thoughts on that is I love it. This isn't going to be as quick. I don't know if you've seen it. I don't know if you all have seen it, but we have this amazing pastor by the name Pastor Moss, and he wrote a poem about keeping Chicago's name out of your mouth. And just like, yes, exactly. Like we get it. Y'all can have y'all thoughts. We really don't care. I actually like that they have but I'm not incredibly mad that people think Chicago is so bad, because as a major city, keep the rent prices down. We don't need New York and LA prices.
Horrible.
So you know what? I love Pritzker, Johnson, our governor, and our mayor.
Yes.
They came out, actually all of our city officials, whatever other types of issues I have with them, we all banded together and got
one
on
band, one sound.
One band, one sound. Exactly. So that's my thoughts on that.
It was going to be the end of the mission. Whatever you thought was about to go down, it was going to end in Chicago. Have you ever seen Chicago represented in film and television? You're going to bring hoots about the city? Did you see us in The Handmaid's Tale? What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? America starts in Chicago.
Move around. Okay.
Move around.
Next quick note. The Grand Dame, Karen Huger, is out of jail. She is free 6 months early. Any quick notes on the return of Karen?
I'm really happy that she is out. Okay. Like, I get that she did some things, but let her get the treatment of other people too. You know, let her get her little soft sentence and be out. I really figured she needed like 2 months in there. I do hope, though, that she has, a therapist on deck, because she was going through a lot for whatever reason, between her parents, her husband, whatever else was going on. So I just really do hope that she's on some sort of like plan of keeping her mind, healthy in terms of not needing to go back to her old ways.
My quick note is, again, we really do live in two different types of world in America, because I couldn't even tell you what Karen's crimes were. I think it was DUI, right?
Yep.
Jeffrey Epstein served weekend jail, which I didn't even know was a thing, but he was just allowed to wander the streets after committing heinous crimes and being found guilty of heinous crimes. And, he walked around from Monday through Friday, and then he came in on Saturday and Sunday briefly. I don't even think they closed the bars at all. And that was his time served. And so, yeah, I'm glad that my girl is out. Okay. Quick note. Eva Marcel, my favorite America's Next Top Model, got her man back, y'all. She is reconciling with her. Are they officially divorced? Ex-husband?
They are officially divorced.
Well, they back together, child. You got some notes? Fill us in.
She said that's her forever. That's her forever love. That's her forever, ever.
Yeah.
Ever. I actually am not mad at this.
Not either.
I honestly originally thought, like, I don't know what really went down, but I originally thought, like, either A, it had to be like absolutely terrible, but B, I do think, like, if I'm just thinking in terms of how the children were very small, their marriage was quite young, they get divorced way too quick. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, where was the separation? Like, separate, think about it. So I do love this for her, love this for them. She got out here and she was like, hold on, it's crazy out here.
Listen. If you have a husband and you have a wife, work it out. Maybe, perhaps, I don't know your situation, but if it's workable, work it out, because the selection of piss water that's out there, I don't know. I'm happy about this as well. I think that she got, just seeing how sick she got, physically sick. And even in her comments during that time, is his name Michael? I want to say his name is Michael.
Yeah, his name Michael Sterling or something like that.
Michael Sterling was always in her comments throughout that whole time, leaving her like really cute notes and sunflower emojis. And yeah, I love that. Yeah. Work it out. Okay. This is a last quick note specifically for you, because we know that you are a HR professional, but right now people are actually getting fired, let go from their jobs from posting about Charlie Kirk. It's all very subjective. It's people across the spectrum, people saying, hey, I don't agree what happened, but it happened. What I want for lunch. It's people that saying, you know, I could care less. It's all across the spectrum. People are losing their jobs. What advice do you have right now for how people can kind of maintain their privacy, be able to kind of interact if they want on social media? But it's so important to keep a check right now in these days. So please.
So I'm gonna give you some steps.
Okay.
First step is private all of your socials right now. For the time being, put them on private. If you have professional profiles, obviously don't ever put anything there that is outside of just whatever it is you do professionally, but also remove your profile picture from the professional websites from the time being. That's the first thing to do. At the end, or you can put a little tag up, like we put the what was the name of the legal note that we put down?
The copyright disclaimer.
The disclaimer. Instead, so put at the end or at the beginning even of any post that you make, the following thoughts are simply my own. They do not represent anything or anyone that I am affiliated with. These are my personal thoughts. The reason you're going to do that, because the next thing you're going to do is you're going to go into that employee handbook or your employer's policies, and you're going to pull the latest social media policy that was written and put into play at your work. And you're going to pull that, you're going to read through it. And I really do need for you to actually read through it. As an HR professional, something that I've learned over the years is that like 60% of the stuff that we write never even gets looked at. People just sign it and they move on. But I need you to read through that social media policy. Some social media policies say anything that you do personally in your personal time that's not during working hours, we have no parts in. So that brings me to my next point. Do not post anything during working hours, because that could be in direct violation of a social media policy, because most of them say you will not take part in social media while at work. And simply like opening up an app and typing something and posting it, that can be used against you. So make sure everything you do is not during working hours. At this particular time, and I would not have advised this before, make sure you are putting either before or after. The following or the aforementioned is of my own personal views. It does not represent any entity or anyone else. I am only representing myself here. And the reason that you are doing that is if for some reason you do find yourself on the other end of a suspension or a termination, and you do find yourself needing to file an EEO complaint or needing to get an employment lawyer to defend yourself, whether you are seeking a severance, you want to represent that you were never representing the company, and particularly around this particular topic we are dealing with. I imagine employment lawyers will come from the angle of, number one, free speech, but number two, that employers are reacting so quickly to this that I don't think they're thinking this all the way through, because what inevitably will happen, and we won't see this like immediately, but what will happen is people are going to win cases because of this individual being incredibly discriminatory. And so cases will likely be won on the fact of, I was speaking out against fascism. I was speaking out against racism. I was speaking out against a litany of things that are and were within our Constitution, within many civil rights. Also know your rights. There are so many civil rights. Some of us know them backwards and forwards. Some of us know some of them backwards and forwards, but really get to learn there are so many laws on the books that they haven't touched yet, they haven't messed with. And so while it's still disheartening and you still will end up possibly losing your jobs, these are steps that you can take and subsequent steps you can take if something were to happen. But in the meantime, in between time, privatize those pages. Do not use your full legal name. Go through the settings and find out how many people are seeing what. Yeah. So those are my steps.
It's great advice. Get the blocking people, get the restricting people, and maybe even creating a new separate profile. If you are having some questions, Tee is also a HR consultant, and so just leave some comments and reach out to her, and she can kind of help you directly answer any issues that you may have, because she's dope like that. All right, let's get into our closing notes. I can't believe we made it. It was a lot going on. Lots going on. All right. Tell us, Tee, do you have any closing notes to take us out?
As someone who is a true representative of Christ, I love the Lord, and in loving the Lord, you have to be so responsible with your words. And I just want to say, the Lord loves everybody, like everybody. The Lord loves everybody. And it does not matter if you're Hindu, Muslim, Christian, it does not matter. And so I want people to understand that people really twist and use religion to twist the words of God in the Bible. And I don't know for what that is worth and how that will hit some of our listeners. But we have been warned of false prophets many times over. And I just want people to keep that top of mind. The only thing that Christ wanted us to do was to love. Did not matter if you were a foreigner, did not matter if you looked like me or you looked like someone else, just love. So for as much awful things we've experienced this week and will likely continue to experience in your little bubble, spread love, and I hope you receive love.
That was so beautiful and poetic and so reflective of, like, when they go low, we go high. Allow me to take y'all to Hades right quick. Let me take you off the screen because I don't even want you implicated in this. Lean in, people. There's a reason why in The Wizard of Oz, the Munchkins sing a little song called Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead. Okay? For those of us that grew up on The Wiz, can you feel a brand new day? Can you feel a brand new day? When Eveline was murdered. Okay? We are not new to this. We are true to this. We do not grieve our oppressor, nor do we care about other people that support those oppressive systems. And anybody that is a part of this new wave I'm seeing of podcast Cocoon pipeline, or maybe this church Cocoon pipeline, any of these other people of color that are all, oh my gosh, no, don't do that, don't say that, no, why? You are being intellectually dishonest and altogether dense, okay? So you don't recognize that Charlie Kirk was a deeply flawed man who built his entire platform spewing hateful, inciting, racist, misogynistic rhetoric? Nothing is more telling than the legacy that man leaves behind, than people sharing his own words, word for word, bar for bar, and y'all getting in a tizzy. Y'all in the comments wanting to fight at me all night. 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning, dropping Bible verses. Did you drop the Bible verses to him? Lord of no empathy, that prick? Was you over there trying to cancel him and tell him, hey, that is not God-like? Because if you didn't, why are you in my ads? Why are you in my mentions? Okay? Oh, so now it's not appropriate because he just died. Well, guess what? It also wasn't appropriate when he was alive either. Okay? And just like you are triggered and you are offended by the sharing of his words and sentiments, that's how those of us at the other end of his ire felt. Every time that man hit publish on a podcast or visited a college campus, this is how we felt. Which brings me to my final note. The college campuses. If we want to come together and point to someone who could deflect the blame possibly or be also complicit in this, it's the college campuses. College campuses, universities in America, you need to stop, and I mean put a full stop on allowing verbally abusive, controversial, and non-credentialed speakers on your campus to offend and trigger the very student body that is paying your tuition. Homeboy was a community college dropout. Okay? No degree. So what makes him the appropriate person to speak on Ketanji Brown and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson? We're talking about people that have not only earned Ivy League degrees, but have gone on post education to go to law school, to work as civil servants, to actually put in work. I did my due diligence. I tried to find out if y'all's mans worked at a nearby Annie Ann's Pretzel or Foot Locker somewhere. Like, where did he come from? Okay? Homie had a sponsor. My sponsor, he can provide. That was it. That was it. Okay? Charlie Kirk, to me, will always be known as a community college dropout who was deeply jealous of those who actually earned their stripes and their credentials, and he died by his own sword. Because yes, as we mentioned, words can be violent, and if you don't believe that, go ask Charlie.
Well, friend, that was a believe this is the world we live in. I just can't believe this is the world we live in. I should be somewhere. We should be like, I want to discuss a James Baldwin book. Like, we should be so much higher. We're still dealing with all of
aliens. Where are the aliens? Okay. We can't even be in community with the higher level intergalactic beings because we over here doing foolishness. We are still repeating the same lessons.
We're not ready for
hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago.
We're not ready. If they exist, we're not ready.
Intergalactic type, ET type stuff. I'm bored.
We're not ready.
I'm tired. I grow weary of you regular humans and their stupidity. What was that song? I gotta go find it. Earth is ghetto.
Earth is ghetto. I wanna leave. Beam me up. I'm out on the street by the corner store. You know, the one on 15th. I got a bright shirt on, so I'm easy to see. Okay, let me stop before we get copyrighted.
Listen. At the end of the day, we need background checks. We need to stop this campus shooting stuff. Had not been Charlie Kirk's messaging all along, we would not be where we are today. Keep Black people out of your mess. Keep FBAs out of your mess. We've done enough. We've been more than graceful. And as always, have the day you deserve. Thank you so much for watching this episode. We have some notes with Tee and Tel. T, where can they find you?
They can find me at T_Chantel, pretty much anywhere.
Y'all
maybe.
There is a gift and a curse in being one of the 300,000 Black women who are unable to find jobs right now, and it's that you can't get me fired from anything. So you can follow me everywhere at Chantel Chavon. Try Jesus. Do not come on any of my pages. Try me. You will have the time that you came looking for. Thank you so much for watching us. Thank you so much for listening to us wherever podcasts are being played. We appreciate your support. I hope you had fun. I hope you learned something, and we'll see you again. Perhaps, perchance. Yes, T?
Yes. Of course.
We will see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye. You went in. Good news.